technology is transforming health surveillance and management. Let's have a huge round of applause for Dr. Dixit, everyone. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, so good afternoon and namaskar to everyone. I can understand we have a handful of people and how you can give me encouragement. Maybe we'll have a very, yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. So, so basically, health application, the GIS, drone, and remote sensing application in health is still an emerging field in India. And if I ask you a few questions in between, just to make our session little interactive, so I think everybody is ready for the answers. So the first question I would just ask you that how many of you knew the word pandemic before 2020? So it was like known to you what is pandemic. Everybody knows the epidemics. So pandemic was known to you. Can you just raise your hands? Before 2020, you knew the word pandemic. Yeah. So, so very few. It was not known to many of us, and I think we in our lifetime, we first of all in 2020 we faced COVID pandemic, which was across the globe. And then we realized that infections can like transmit the borders. There is no borders for any infections, and therefore the technologies are very rapid technologies or very efficient technologies are required even in the health sector. And now, so after post pandemic, we know that there were so many applications which were created. All of them had geospatial component in that. If you remember, recall the contact tracing, location showing the proximity with the patients, all those application and proximity from the health services, all those application had geospatial component into that. So you understand that there is a very strong linkage between the geospatial sciences, which includes GPS, GIS, remote sensing, and now drones with the health. And we say that 95% of the health attributes have spatial components, whether you are talking about catchment areas, proximities, or location of services. So, if you also go back and see that COVID-19 has covered the entire globe in very small span of time. In a 12 months period, it has reached from Wuhan to Antarctica. So in 2020, end of 2020, Antarctica was the last continent where which has lost the term of COVID free, and some patients were found, COVID patients were found even in the Antarctica. So the now question is that how this disease information or disease outbreak information, they get gathered in different platforms. So there is a collective measures which health department and many other private partners they have to play when they do surveillance of diseases or surveillance of other attributes. Now I am going to discuss that part, how geospatial sciences, and also I will ask you that how you think that drone can replace the satellite data which we are using with the current drone technologies can. So now coming to the next, yeah, is it there? I'm so sorry. Yeah. So basically, I come from a health research uh, institute. It is called International Clinical Epidemiology Network. We basically work on the epidemiology. We study different kinds of epidemiology across the globe, and especially with a special focus on in India. And we conceptualize a integrated comprehensive health surveillance system way back in 2009, where we not only covered the the tracking of or monitoring of only infections, but also we have integrated the monitoring of demography of a place, development of the place, and environmental components. So this is called comprehensive surveillance platforms. And how these platforms are created? These platforms are created into different geographies, because India is a very big country and different contexts give different kinds of disease burden. So that is why these are created in different geographies of the across India. And not only we have created 3 sites, so INCLIN has created 3 sites, demographic surveillance sites in India, and also we have supported 5 other institutes to create their sites, demographic surveillance sites in their own institutes, so that they can also do comprehensive health surveillance in their own area. So these are the location of our sites. So one is in Palwal, Haryana. Another site is in Bareilly, Uttar Pradesh. And we have another third site is in Meghalaya, Mawphlong area. So there are 2 aspects of doing surveillance. One is traditional way of doing surveillance, where you do continuous monitoring or systematic collection of and an analysis of the data sets for the improving the programs. So that is the traditional way of doing surveillance. But now the concept is comprehensive surveillance, which is given in 21st century, where you have to integrate the environmental developmental aspects also along with doing your regular surveillance of the diseases. So basically 21st century demands the comprehensive surveillance, where you can have distal and proximal factors of different diseases included together, so that you can study the risk factors also of different kind of diseases. Now, our comprehensive platforms, what kind of data we generate? We have land parcel data of built up area, we have population data, we have environmental condition data, developmental data are also kept, like road and water bodies and those things. We have morbidity data, morbidity pattern, mortality pattern, infections in the community, and also healthcare delivery system. So this is called a comprehensive system. Generally, other surveillance system, they only focus on infections. But here we are also capturing the environmental factors along with infections. Now this picture is a very, like, all the geospatial scientists and those who work in this geospatial space, they know that this is a model presentation of how our data should be available for decision making. So, but exactly the same way we are capturing the data in the comprehensive surveillance system, where layer by layer we are creating information, keeping environment at the base, and then demography, and then going to the infections and diseases of a particular community. So, this is also very important to understand, especially from the perspective of drone industry, that if we want to create such kind of surveillance system, we have to have multiple, like, such sites across India, because India is a diverse country. And if I just show you in just one area of one site, you can see that there are some pockets where development is there, which are near to the highways. There are some pockets which are very, very poor in terms of their health and demographic development. So diversity of context actually require the uses of satellite data or drone technology for proper capturing of such data sets. Now, how we do it, just to give you a glimpse of it. So these areas, like some of the villages in Haryana or some UP, they are very, very densely populated. So you will be amazed to know that in some of our villages, the population density we have found is 9,000 people per square kilometer. Generally, we have a notion that villages don't have that dense population. Only urban areas have the density of the population. So when you are utilizing these technologies even in the rural area, then also you have to consider that how what will be the my spatial resolution, and what will be the my what kind of camera I should use to capture the picture in a full form. So I will just give you some ideas that how we are doing using satellite data. Till now we have been using world view high resolution satellite data, and we are doing mapping 1:1000 meter scale. So first of all, we digitize the roads, because roads in the plain area, road provide the boundary information, and then we we have to do the sectorization of the villages. So we divide villages into sectors. So there are two very important aspects. Those who are thinking to utilize this technology in the rural areas, our rural areas do not have any address system. So there is no address system in rural area. If you want to work at the household level, you will not find any kind of address system. So you have to develop some kind of identification system. So we have divided our villages into sectors, into small clusters, using roads as a boundary, and then we conduct detailed mapping of those areas. And after the mapping, such kind of maps are created, which are high resolution. They are showing the land parcel within the built up area where people live in rural areas. So this is with the constraint of not having address system, not having ward system in some of the area, and having very dense population where even GPS surveys are we cannot do because of the compactness of the houses there in the villages. So now such kind of identification is given to each of the land parcel, and after doing this mapping exercise, we do census of these all the household in these land parcels, and then we get to know the real population. And then after this creation of these layers, this data is very valuable. After anonymizing this data, it is used for different health studies. Even clinical trials are also conducted in such sites. So, as you know, all of you know that such kind of digital geospatial maps can be created, and then we have to also work on our architecture. How to build the architecture so that multiple teams can work with this data. So we have input layer where the GIS team, census team, environmental assessment team, these teams work together. Then we have application layer where we process this data, and finally this data goes into the main database. So we are creating an integrated database system through this. It is a kind of model system which we may replicate in other areas also. Now, what challenges I face when we are doing such kind of the basic challenges from the perspective of utilization of drone technology. So, first is high resolution satellite data, cost, and temporability. So, the temporability of the data of satellite data is like if you want fresh archive data, it is very, very costly, high resolution. We'll have to use a very old, outdated data if we have to balance the cost involved in our project. So that is one drawback of using high resolution satellite data. Second drawback is manpower. A lot of manpower is utilized. And third is time duration. In doing all these things, a lot of time is taken. Now, question is to you that can we transition from satellite data utility to the drone utility? Do you feel that we can transition from this? Yes, we can do that. I also feel the same. We can easily transit from this existing this kind of satellite data dependency to the drone dependencies now. Now, Uh, as I said that we are doing a comprehensive surveillance. We have also utilized drone in our areas way back. I think 5 to 6 years back, we have utilized drone in environmental monitoring. So inversion of temperature and also PM 2.5 within the different altitude was measured in our sites. So we have been using drones, but not in the mapping. Now, what are the potential for drone research and application, especially if I focus on health? So first is accurately mapping the objects on the Earth's surface. As you can see through my presentation that there is a demand for building such kind of surveillance sites, and their drone industry can pitch in along with. And then deliver the medical supplies and treatments. This has been used in many developed countries. So we can also widespreadly use these things. We can think of it. Deliver automated external defibrillators, which is AEDs. These are used for in the cardiac emergencies. Transportation of biological samples. So biological samples are collected, so how to transport them quickly if it is needed, like any pandemic or epidemic has occurred and we have to like quickly get those samples tested in a very super specialty lab which is located in Delhi from Chennai. So this can be also done using multiple technologies, drone and other services. And also transportation, environmental monitoring, as I have given you one example, and creating a drone network. So also I would urge all the partners who are working in this sector that try to create network of drone collaborators, so that and no part in India should be left behind. Every part should be covered, even the rural areas, the hilly terrains, the northeast part. So we should have a network of drone community. And also designing the payload compartments. So for the delivery of the medicines and other equipments, we have to design the payload compartments in the drones. So that is also, that requires a lot of research along with medical people and other industry partners. So that is also an area where we can work together. So collaboration is the key for development of this technology, that I think. And many thanks everyone. Thank you very much. So if you have any questions, I can, yes sir, please. Mike, please.
Hello. Yeah. You said in one of the slides that you are using drones to find religion and caste. How is drone doing finding religion and caste?
No sir.
It
Yes
is
sir.
there in one of your slides.
Yeah. So I will tell you the, actually this is the maybe one of the drawback of quick presentations. So till now we have not used drones. We are using satellite data, and also we are conducting census after mapping the land parcel. Census includes caste, religion and other composition of the area. So
But
but drone is not
but
utilized.
why do you want a census of caste and religion? May I ask?
That is the part of our census tool. We, that is, I totally agree that is, this is not now required of to know the caste, but this may be used as a one of the risk factors for some of the diseases.
See, India, we say we are a secular country, so we should come rise above all castes and religions. And if you propagate caste and religion finding out, even the Indian government doesn't want to do it. It is a big topic of debate.
Yeah.
So I would suggest that you try to avoid that religion and caste.
Yes, I totally agree with what sir has said. But since we are working in the health sector, sometimes religion becomes some of the risk factors for some of the diseases because of the eating behaviors and all those things. So that is why it was needed. But as per our the new policies, we can always adapt to the new policies.
Yeah, ma'am. Stepping aside from morality, coming to capability.
Yes, sir.
But how exactly do you do it? I mean, how do you find out
About
from
what?
satellite? This, let's say, even if you were to do this census, caste, religion, etc.
Uh-huh.
From satellite data, how do you do it?
So there are three layers of information. As I said, this is a comprehensive surveillance system. So we have a land parcel layer, which is captured through the satellite. Caste is not captured through the satellite. Then house to house survey is done, which is called census. Each household is surveyed, and then in that we have 48 questions. In that we capture different aspects of environmental exposure and socio-economic exposure to the community using census data. It is not through satellite data. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much, everyone.
All right, thank you so much for sharing your insights, ma'am. Once again, can we have a huge round of applause, everyone?